Good evening, everyone, and welcome to BMW Race Driver Series Round 9 from Circuit of the Americas. And we are really going straight into the action now because we are on our formation lap for Race 1. Daylight savings is a thing. I've long stood by it should not be a thing, but here we are. And we're getting set to go racing. Now, those look like the green rims of Shane Van Gisbergen, looking to start from pole position here, Ozzy.
Yeah, as per usual, he's been absolutely dominant here the last couple of weeks. Hasn't won every single start, but he's been there. He's been there near the top, and we'll be looking for him to make his way to the victory lane once again, or top of the podium, whichever you prefer.
Been doing a lot of racing from the back to the front in this series. I wonder how much that helped him, because yesterday he started last and I think fifth last in supercars and gained, I think, about 25 spots over the course of the day. So he certainly had a lot of practice at passing over the last couple of weeks on the sim and in real life as we get set to go green, and away we go. Van Gisbergen has had an excellent start, and he leads us up into turn number 1, immediately sweeping over onto the racing line, and a little bit of a dive there from third place. I think that's Sabo, but they all get through there cleanly. And now into the S's we roll.
Yeah, so going through turn number 1 at Circuit of the Americas cleanly, that's certainly quite an achievement. Going through the SS as well, they are snaking by. Really reminding me of Suzuka's SS at Koda, only worse. But here we go, and a great battle back, by the way, in the middle of your field with Stephen Parker, Henry Thomas Kerher, Nathan Anderson, and Matthew Griffin. All of those guys. Oh, that's cool.
Ooh, they're 3 wide coming out of the hairpin there, down at turn number 10 and at turn 11. That's going to be very tight as they try to squeeze their way through to 12, and then the track folds back on itself through turn 13. And they're still running wheel to wheel there in the mid-pack. As you can see, running the west layout, not the full circuit at Coda, which is a good decision. I think that long one is just a little bit too long. And so we peel off to the left, just in the middle of the S's, and take a shortcut through the middle of the track.
Yeah, that's Barker taking not a shortcut, but rather the longer route around the penultimate corner of this 16-corner layout. That's going to leave him with Nathan Anderson and Henry Thomas Kerher side by side onto the main straight. Ooh. And that's Nathan moving very late to the inside.
Yeah, moving and grabbing Thomas Kircher's front end. They both get by Steven Barker, who was quite early on the brakes there. Loses 2 spots for his troubles. There's more contact off the corner as Anderson, I think, oversteered into Kircher. And now Barker trying to get involved, but has to back out of it. These 2 racing very aggressively here as we begin lap 2 of our 25-minute opening race. Kircher had a look into turn number 8. And what an awkward section of track that is.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And once again, looking to the inside is Henry, and he makes it through. Nathan cannot defend. And these guys in the mid pack, what?
Oh, no.
Yeah, did they
Barker
ever come out of
Bickley.
the corner swinging? Yeah, and that's Barker around as well. That's unfortunate.
Bickley was having a very late lunge at him and just awkwardly came together. He'll be very annoyed by that. Will Barker up here in second. Mark Gibson has got Sabo for close company. Remember, Sabo went for the look down at turn 1. In the end, thought better of it. But he's stalking him now. And certainly lining up. Probably an overtaking opportunity. A good exit out of the last corner always pays dividends. Down up at turn 1. But I don't think he's quite close enough this lap as Van Gisbergen. There's a 1:26.972, the fastest lap of the race so far. And only 0.3 of a second slower than his qualifying time, as that is Gibson going by on the inside after Sabo tried to take it away at turn 1. He fights back into the S's side by side, and Gibson with a wiggle trying to avoid contacts will go straight through one part of the S's and hands Sabo the spot.
Yeah, so Gibson missed the apex by a country mile in turn number 1. That had to be a mistake, and then Sabo got the inside line, tried to get him through, and got him on the SS. Gibson had to cut straight through the SS, got a slowdown penalty, which is what the service will give you. Right away, the simulator will give you a slowdown penalty for cutting the track, and as a result of that, Gibson lost a couple of seconds more, and he's now under attack from Gene Rollison and Nicholas Lund. So suddenly he's not fighting for second place, he's fighting for third place.
Corner is an absolute killer on the left side tyres, putting a lot of load through them for a triple apex, but right-hander. But Nicholas Lowndes right now doing a good job of keeping himself in touch. Gene Rollinson and Mark Gibson. And Gibson's qualifying wasn't that bad. It's only 100th of a second away, or 300ths away from Sabo. Race pace is much in favour of Sabo. Well, I do think Gibson had to serve a slowdown for his misdemeanor through the SSO, was he?
Yeah, he absolutely had to. He absolutely had to, and let's hope he doesn't have to do so again. But that's now allowed Sabo, in addition, as he cheats, just running away into the sunset pretty much. Gibson's got to have his work cut out for him if he wants to catch up to that second place over the course of the remaining 20 minutes of his race. I don't say it's impossible, I'm just gonna say it's very, very difficult. And that battle for the third place is now pretty much the closest and most interesting battle on track right now, so we'll have to stay with this one. Gene Rollinson, as said, is trying to catch up to him. And in qualifying, Gene was 4/10 of a second slower than Mark Gibson, but qualifying, and well, Ryan, racing's racing, and we are seeing that a lot of people certainly have different plans, can let the faster guys run away.
Almost certainly a 3.6 second advantage Van Gisbergen has run away to. Over Sabo, Gibson 7.5 back, 8.5 to Gene Rollinson, who's starting to fall away from Gibson. Nicholas Lowndes still right behind him, about 2 car lengths back, up the straight. Does he have a look to the inside under the braking zone? He does. Shapes for it, goes for it, and Gene Rollinson turns across his nose and says, "You are not having that spot from that far back," and Lowndes throws it wide as well to rub salt into the wound there. Matthew Griffin, Royce Rollinson, Kutcher, Gibson, the other Gibson, Todd Gibson, and Stephen Barker, your top 10. In a race that is brought to you by some great people, such as the team at Express Hydraulics, who import and stock a wide range of hydraulic accessories so that you can get what you want when you want it. And of course, Griffin Excavation to provide you with a professional and experienced digger operator ready to help you with general earthworks, landscaping, drilling, trenching, driveways, and site clearing. It's a big thank you to them. Oh, that's a car off the track. And going to lose a spot, maybe? No. Just about gets away with it. That's Cam Cairns, and he does lose a spot as he goes straight through the chicane that has turned 7 and 8 and 9. And Nathan Anderson got by him as a result of that.
Yeah, he did, and Nathan going a little bit wide on the next corner, so will be interesting to see if Cam can get that position back. He will on the inside as Nathan locks up his brakes and says, "Thank you very much. I did miss that position. Thankfully, it wasn't away from me for long." And these two guys will continue exploring the very difficult and unnatural layout of Circuit of the Americas. Honestly, if you are not used to this circuit, you are gonna have a bad time. It is an okay circuit. Some people really like it when you get used to it. But if you are not used to it, it's one of the more demanding places to learn.
What are your opinions on the Circuit of the Americas facility as a whole? It seems to be very dividing when it comes to a discussion around it. Some people love it, a lot of people hate it.
I don't think we have the censor button quite ready, so, I'll sit on my opinion for now.
You should be a politician, Aussie. Anyone ever poached that or pondered that career path to you?
I don't think I'm quite crooked enough.
Yeah, it's good. You're gonna have a good sense of
Nathan!
question
Nathan Anderson went to the wall hard.
Nathan Anderson. So, there he is. He's off in the grass. He's getting it
been to the
going.
wall.
Yeah, because that car is missing its bonnet. Here we go, the replay out of turn 1. Gasses it up. Lets rear end hang out a bit, but it wasn't there that he had the issue.
Oh, he had it on the SS, just cutting a little bit too much, and sausage curbs. Now, sleeping policeman, whatever you want to call them, cuts one to the inside, then jump up to one, and that's a loss of control, and head first into the wall, and that's one way to end your race. Well, I say end your race, he's somehow still going and trying to make it back to the pit lane, but Nathan Anderson now dropping all the way back, gonna be passed by Paul Blomqvist, who is, by the way, in case you're wondering, down in 15th. And slowly making his way around, so not the best of races for Paul either.
I wonder if he missed the start maybe, because he's a minute back of Van Gisbergen, and we know their pace is actually not far apart from each other. There's no visible damage on Blomqvist's machine.
Griffin.
He didn't set a qualifying time either. Matthew Griffin, hello. Is that the Essence as well, maybe?
Yeah, it is. No. It's not the same curb, but it's very close to that one as well. So Matthew Griffin went around. He's actually, and you can see the replay there, jumps up and nose first into the wall, thankfully at lesser speed, but still a very similar incident. And that is what happens once you start to gain courage here, Ryan, and once you start cutting those curves a little bit too much. Those are some high curves. They are anti-cut, and they're certainly doing their job rather well. A little bit too well, I'd say.
Yeah, they're there for a reason. And that reason is to be an absolute nuisance for drivers who get a little bit greedy through the S's, which offer up so much time when you get them right. And it swings and roundabouts, doesn't it? You can lose so much if you get them wrong. There's our race leader. Again, not sure where he's racing from. Just wrapped up at Salem Bend. He's got a 3-week break now until the Bathurst 1000 in real life to close out Supercars Championship. So I say we'll probably see him next week as well. To close out our season of the BMW Race Driver Series, I have an inkling that is also at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, so, you know, it's a bit of a double header, and I wonder if SVG has some sort of, you know, a rig at the bus system or something, where he's just carrying it on a trailer or a bus or something, because I know a couple of other real-life drivers have done that sort of thing. I know Sami-Matti Trogen out of Finland, who was racing in the Nürburgring 24 hours last weekend. He had his simulator with him to participate in the World Championship Rallycross Series, but they couldn't find a place to plug the simulator in. They didn't have a place that had both a good internet and electricity, so he couldn't participate. And I was thinking he is a bit crazy for driving a sim race during the 24 hours of Nürburgring. But yeah, they do that sometimes, the real-life drivers. They carry their simulators with them for practice, or just, you know, getting the feel for it, or just, you know, running a couple of races. And I think that's something that's going to happen more and more often once, you know, we get back on route with the real-life racing, and once a lot of these traditional race car drivers realize the value of sim racing practice.
Yeah, most certainly. And it's fun. They do it to unwind and have fun as well, because the level of intensity for a real driver in a motorsport category is immense. And sometimes that can detract a bit from, you know, the fact that they're doing their dream job, but sometimes it's not as fun as they'd like. There was an interesting comment Shane made yesterday after his 2 charges from the back to the front, after qualifying by his standards, that he said he had a lot of fun, but he's not exactly happy with it, because obviously it wasn't a good end result for him based off his speed. But he had fun passing cars and whatnot. I think that's why we see him start from the back so often. And I think he's solidifying a start from the back by winning race 1 here, as that was an awkward run through the essence of both those cars by the looks of things. And then it got even more awkward heading into the chicane. So yeah, drivers come to sim racing to unwind, do some overtaking, and have a good time.
And sometimes also test out, as we see a replay of Jonathan Shapley as well, heading downhill right-hander and just gonna miss his braking point a little bit to the tighter of those corners. So going through the SS, again cutting a little bit too much of the curve, however not punishing him too much yet, and there he just misses his braking point, goes in too hot and goes wide as well. And well, track should be punishing, but that's quite a small punishment really for going wide there. Just a little bit of a dabble through the tarmac runoff, come back to the track, a little bit of time lost, and get back in the chase.
Douglas Bickley had an issue as well, which was good news for Shapley. Bickley locked up the fronts and slid wide a few corners later, so the gap between them has actually remained pretty stagnant on that lap, despite their individual mistakes, because they both made mistakes. As Bickley is wide again, down at turn 1 there, just couldn't get it turned in. Does give him a pretty nice exit back down the hill through turn 2.
That it indeed does, and we are seeing them improving their lines considerably throughout the race. Now, of course, these guys are learning. This is not one of those racetracks, especially this shorter layout. It's not one of those tracks that you would really be used to by default. I don't think many of these guys have ran this layout very much. I don't think many have experience with Coda beforehand, like considerable experience. They might have practiced it, they might have raced there a couple of times, but it's not like one of their stamping grounds like Oran Park or Phillip Island or Mount Panorama would be. It's much more obscure of a track in that sense, especially at these different layouts. And as such, you go into the race and you try to run it mistake-free, I think. You try to run it mistake-free and you try to learn as you go, trying to figure out how the car will handle on a higher fuel load, on a heavier fuel load, and trying to figure out how the guys in front of you are doing as well. And that's why it's actually quite important to run behind someone if you think they have more speed, because it's always, for me at least, it was always easier to follow.
Something just clicked in my head, and it's taken 15 minutes. Van Gisbergen's raced at this track in real life. In 2013, Supercars went to Circuit of the Americas. Just the one trip there, but still, experience is experience.
That's why he has the advantage. So that's why he's leading the race.
One of the reasons. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a few more.
Maybe a couple. I think the biggest reason is, well, the good thing about this series is that the biggest reason is always behind the, between the wheel and the seat in terms of how well you're doing it. Because it's a fixed setup series and, every car is equal, and in sim racing you can truly say that that's one of the advantages of sim racing, because like in real life you always have slight differences between the cars. It's hard to make like 20 or 30 equal cars. You always have slight differences in there, slight differences setup-wise, weight-wise, whatever you got. And here, every car is equal, so it's truly a matter of up to the driver to make the difference. And that's what I like. That's what I really, really, really like. I don't think top-tier series should be, fully stocked, as a lot of people are saying. But all I'm saying is that we need more, stock series. And in a league like this, I think going with a fixed setup and going with that option is the only proper choice to truly make it a battle between drivers and not just brands or cars.
What that man said, I agree. Shapley's closing up to Bickley now. His last lap was 0.8 of a second quicker. So really put his foot down and through the S's, carrying much more speed through the first part. With the second phase though, Bickley pulls out. Just a little bit again, so a bit of a Constantina effect, and then through the awkward left, right, left. That is 6, 7, 8, and 9. This is no longer as tricky as a braking zone as it is on the full layout, where you're coming in here at top speed off the back of a massive straightaway. It's now a medium-sized braking zone, leaving turn 1 as the only big braking zone on the track, and even then, that is not as big as it could be because there is a big uphill gradient there which helps to slow the car down because of gravity.
Yeah, and uphill braking zones are very, very interesting as a driver. For example, turn number 1, once you get to it, you can brake so late into that corner, you don't even realize it. Like, you got the gravity helping you, and also when you're running uphill, your car is sort of pushing against the ground instead of in downhill when it's trying to lose the grip all the time, or when it's flat, it's just flat. But uphill once again. See here, you're coming into turn number 1 with Jonathan Shapley having a great run. He's not looking to the inside because that's blocked up by Bickley. He's looking to the outside. Bickley is gonna probably miss the apex a little bit. He is, and Shapley has a great run on the crossover around the outside, and that should be a slam dunk. No, it's not. Ooh, great fight back by Bickley.
I think Shapley wanted to be on the outside for that corner. He was worried, I think, that Bickley might slide into him, so he aborted that move, and he'll have to rethink his strategy. Because there's not many places you can get by here without then ending up on the outside for the next corner. Bickley had a slight error exiting the S's, recovers well, and there is an opportunity for Shapley down at there. Almost hairpin, turn 10. Cam Cairns, all the while, is catching both of these drivers 9/10 quicker than Shapley on the last lap, and 1.3 quicker than Bickley.
Yeah, he is, and well, if they continue this sort of thing, if they continue fighting, Cam Cairns has a chance to be right there in the mix in a fight for the 11th place. Bickley still ahead, Shapley right behind him. Shapley's gonna look for his chance here, but he's gonna slowly but surely run out of time here. 5 minutes to go. He's gonna have about 3 laps to do it. Oh, that's not the way you do it, Jonathan. Just runs right into the back of Douglas Bickley.
He's redressed
He's
it.
going down, yeah. That's the right call, to be honest.
He's redressed it, and Cam Cairns is gonna be the one to benefit from it. He goes by Shapley, and up into P12, although Shapley is gonna try and fight it back. On the brakes, Supreme just about gets it done. Can he slice across his nose into turn 2? He tries, realizes he can't, has to turn left through the middle of the long right. Somehow they both get away with it, and Shapley's reclaimed the spot.
Yeah, that was too close for comfort between Shapley and Cam Cairns. You know, a little bit of a wiggle, a little bit of contact between those guys, but no harm done, really. Just a little bit of time lost, and as a result of that, Douglas Bickley gets himself about half a second of a breather, but not too much more. So look out for this battle to continue now properly with 3 drivers. Something I should mention, by the way, as we are watching this battle, and we should be watching this battle, the championship table. It was 8 points between Gene Rollinson and Antal Rafael Sabo before the start of this race. Well, Sabo is gonna now get that championship lead after heat number 1 if they run like this. He's in second, Gene Rollinson down in 4th place. We are seeing a battle for 11th.
You're right, so that championship battle is going to be truly alive as we head in to the final race today, and then the final 2 races next week at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and at 7 p.m. New Zealand time.
10 a.m. Eastern European Standard Time.
No one cares about you. Yeah. Or, if you're in America and your name is Joe, 1 a.m. Good fun.
So, around the world we go, and international. You can't really get much more international than this on a 3-person broadcast team. You know, everybody located in different parts of the world with the same series, and you know, finally putting New Zealand on some of the maps. Are you aware of the fact that there is actually a trending thing called Maps Without New Zealand? Because a lot of the maps that you have a map of the world in some games or media or indeed in TV shows, and they just completely omit New Zealand off the map. And I think that's a great bit of you know, trying to you know, find an Easter egg as we are watching a battle for 6th place.
Yeah,
that's gonna be great.
I think Henry Thomas Kirch is going to be trying to wipe Royce Rollinson off the map here in this battle for P6. Maybe not quite so literally, but he'll want to get by him and take him off his main radar, chuck him in the rearview mirror instead. Here we go, he's got a good exit, and Rollinson's going to cover because he saw that. Doesn't drive all the way to the inside, doesn't need to, just takes him middle of the road and forces Kircher the long way around, gives him the room on the exit, but Kircher's done a fantastic job to get the car there. If he can pull it up into the right, he just about does, pinch the fronts. But that is the spot for Thomas Kircher, and he covers it nicely down at 13.
Yeah, let's see how long he can hold on to it. Royce Rollinson, he was really like, I don't know if I should leave you room to the right at the start of that overtake, but then finally decided that, okay, I'll let you come back from the curb, and they had a great fight. A little bit of contact. I think Henry went a little bit wide and tapped the side of Royce Rollinson, but no harm done, really. Got the position done and got the pass. Didn't punt the other driver around, and now Royce has a chance to get it back. 6th place fight, Henry Thomas Kircher taking the way, but for how long is my question. Can he hold on, or does Royce Rollinson have something up his sleeve? Maybe an ace? Maybe an overtake? Maybe just his hand.
Maybe a joker.
Oh yeah, that could be it. The rules card from Uno.
Meanwhile, there's 30 seconds left in this race, which means, whereas Van Gisbergen on the racetrack, it is the white flag for your race leader as he comes through this time by with a 12-second, 14-second advantage. He's opened it up by 1.3 on just that last lap alone, and it is cool as can be for SVG up at the front. Not far away from lapping Cam Cairns and Jonathan Shapley as well. They were just up the road. There they are. That battle has settled down though, so not likely to see a change there, barring mistakes. Still reasonably close between Thomas Kircher and Royce Rollinson, Todd Gibson and Matthew Griffin, within striking distance as well. But if anything's going to happen, it'll come down to the final lap, which they haven't begun yet.
Yeah, they will start it right now, and we'll have to see about that one. SB Cheeto, what a race it's been. He's been absolutely dominant, Ryan. He's been absolutely on it this time around, taking the pole position by over 1 second. And then just, deciding not to mess around, decided to instead, you know what, I'm just going to run away with it.
And that Mazmini Motorsport car has motored along, pulled out a margin that is insurmountable for the rest of the field. He'll have to do it again in race 2 with a bit of added drama. He'll start from the back. Race 1, there's only one man that was winning this one. Shane Van Gisbergen comes out of the final corner. It's a race win again in the BMW Race Driver E-Series for SVG.
Yeah, that's going to be Sabo, Gibson, Rollinson, Lowndes, and 10. 6th place, Henry Thomas Kircher. Royce Rollinson going to come into the last corners. Royce Rollinson is going to try hard, a little bit too hard, goes halfway around, and that's the battle over, I reckon, for now.
What about Todd Gibson and Matthew Griffin? Coming up to that point on the racetrack now themselves. Gibson a little bit more comfortable, I think, than Thomas Kircher was. And in fact, Matthew Griffin has done the old
disappearing act.
Yeah.
Wow. Just like my dad.
Wow. Just wow.
Meanwhile, we do still have a battle for 11th place, by the way. Douglas Bickley and
Shapley closed up.
Yeah, coming very close into the last corner.
Bickley's wide.
Well, not quite the last corner.
Bickley's wide. This is gonna... He just gets it back, but he goes too wide into the triple apex, and here comes Shapley, the P11, Bickley, can he get the run on that outside? Is he going to lurch it up the inside for the penultimate corner? No. Shapley turned in, covered it off, and on the final lap of the race, the battle for P11 finally resolves itself in favour of Shapley. How about that lunge from Cam Cairns into the back of Bickley at that last corner? But as they cross the line, Bickley holds on for at least 12th. And now we head into our 5-minute warm-up before our feature event.
Whew, Ryan, that was quite an exciting race. And quite something to witness. And, a lot of drivers trying to find their way around Kota. I think the second race will be a little bit less mistake-filled. I mean, most of the drivers did well. A couple of drivers, getting acquainted with those cones and getting acquainted with those curbs rather than the cones. But, that that was quite an interesting event, and I think we should now, between the races, Ryan, do some of the pre-race things that we usually do.
Yeah, let's have a look at our championship then. With just a round left to go, it is a 47-point lead for Gene Rollinson over Antal Rafael Sabo. This is awfully close to what it was before the beginning of last round as well. 1908 points in total for Gene Rollinson, 132 back to Royce, 141 to Cochran, 149.
Ryan, those are a little bit out of date. The current one before this event started, Gene Rollinson with 2,148 points, 8-point lead over Sabo. But as we saw, Sabo finish second on that one. I think he's reclaimed the championship lead now with Taylor Coqueton in third place, and Royce Rollinson just 3 points behind him. So just a different file, I think. They didn't send you the updated one, did they?
Well, no. I was going off the broadcast. That's why. To my credit, I acknowledge they seemed awfully similar to what I've seen before, but
yeah,
go ahead, what you give him. But that does mean that Sabo looking good in his fight back in the championship. Second for him, fourth to Gene. They are almost level heading into the last race today. 2 races next week as well.
Yeah.
Do we need to do the race details? We've done half the evening. All we've got left is a 25-minute race with the grid inverted.
You make that sound so mundane. Like, a 25-minute grid race, grid inverted, and it's going to be absolute fireworks.
Yeah. That will be, for sure. Save my energy for lap 1.
I think it's going to be a little bit difficult. We saw the lack of overtaking opportunities around here, but it's going to be very curious to follow what SVG can do, and if Paul Blomqvist as well. He's going to be starting in P number 3, so he's going to be a contender for the race winner.
It's the big squeeze as well, up to turn 1. We saw Van Gisbergen, and in fact, Gibson on his outside get an excellent launch in race 1. So they weren't under pressure, but generally the mid-pack, certainly, they all fan out 3, 4, even 5 wide, and then they suddenly realize there is a 90-degree plus corner coming up, and you can really only get through there 2 wide, unless someone opts to go the uber long way round, which is incredibly slow. So watch for that. The big squeeze up to turn 1 on lap 1. It's like an accordion. It goes out, and then back in.
Yeah, so, incredible job by everybody last time around to make it actually clean through that one, because we see a lot of incidents in turn number 1, especially if you take this sort of racing line to the outside, all the way to the outside, and then turning in to the apex. It's incredibly hard to see if there's a driver actually launching up to your inside. So, usually you only see them once you feel the contact pretty much. So it was great avoidance by everybody, great job for them to get cleanly through, and I hope they can do so once again.
On our formation lap and getting set for the race. Pole position goes to Paul Blomqvist. Tony Lovelock, unfortunately, not here to grid up. So Blomqvist gets elevated from 3rd to 1st. Nathan Anderson will start from 2nd. Cam Cairns will be 4th. Douglas Bickley will move up to 3rd. Van Gisbergen and Sabo on the back row of the grid. And they'll have to keep their eyes peeled for any calamity in front. Look for Blomqvist to be extremely quick as well here off the front of the field.
Yeah, he's my shoe-in for the race win with those pink wheels on his Minion car, but he's going to have a sister car to worry about, who's going to come back through the field, I think, SVG starting from the last place. And, just before we get going, Ryan, any bets on how quickly SVG is going to be on the race lead? 1 lap, 2, over under?
Lap 2. Here we go. into the final corner, and out we come in the hands of the guy that's not leading us. There we go, Paul Blomqvist. Jumps onto the throttle, up the gears we go. We are racing for race 2. Look at that on the back. Already some big moves as drivers spread across the racetrack. Bickley slots into second. Look at that big dive from Todd Gibson on the inside, and someone's gone very deep around the outside of the circuit. Oh no, no. On the exit, they were 3 wide. They get away with it, but 3 wide and turn 2 doesn't work. It's Sabo gets escorted out left.
Yeah, he did. Sabo had an excellent start. He came all the way from 14th to challenge for 6th and 7th places. But now he gets shuffled a little bit wide and loses a bit of time as a result. And that's further up for the drivers getting very eager over those curves as they continue fighting for 3rd place. That's Douglas Bickley, Todd Gibson, and Matthew Griffin 3 wide heading into the next one. Wow.
And the meat in the sandwich. Douglas Bickley getting beaten about right now as Todd Gibson goes by. Oh, that's a big incident for Sabo. That car did not seem to slow down at all. And he's taken poor Mark Gibson with him. And they both fall to the back of the field.
Yeah, they do. So Mark Gibson going around Sabo as well, losing a lot of time. And this has championship implications, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, because Gene Rollinson, he is all the way close to top 10, just behind that huge battleback, behind SBG.
Trouble at the final corner.
Last corner, SBG makes it through. Gene Rollinson makes it through, but a couple of drivers around there. Nathan Anderson spun around once again, as is Jonathan Shapley and Douglas Bickley involved in that one. So the battle guys from the end of last race, they are all shuffled all the way to the back.
Rollinson on the inside there at turn 1 on Steven Barker. Leaves them just enough room on the exit. Barker going to fight back through turn 2. Just lifts off the throttle and lets Rollinson sweep around his outside to take away P6 there. And it was great avoiding action from a few of those drivers to get around that last lap drama, as I think it was Bickley that got turned around thanks to contact into his left rear as he tried to tip it into that corner. So it took 1 lap, and Kircher's gone 11th to 2nd, to 16th to 4th for Van Gisbergen, 12th to 5th for Lowndes, 13th to 7th for Gene Rollinson.
Yeah, so avoiding incidents and having that right bit of aggression at the right time is really going to count. Don't go for the first chance, go for the best chance, and just try to avoid the mayhems that are bound to ensue. A lot of 3 wide, 4 wide action in lap number 1, a couple of incidents unfortunately, but drivers still in a relatively good nick, as SVG is now hounding Todd Gibson for P number 3 at the end of lap number 2, so he's going to be 4th at the end of this lap, and his gap to the leaders is now 6.7 seconds. Gap to the lead makes that 6.1 going around the outside. Let's see if he can pull it off around the outside, or does he have to? Yeah, he's going to pull it off. Todd Gibson not fighting that too hard, and I'm not surprised. No point for Todd fighting that in at start of lap number 3. He's just going to let SVG by and not to make himself any excess trouble. Really clever by Todd, actually. Out front, Paul Blomqvist capitalising on what is a good day for him, as today he was announced as the new head driver over at Highlands Park, or rather their experience facility. So he'll be having some fun around that beautiful racetrack. Yeah,
lead professional driver, corporate event lead, and more. The official description there is. Yeah, I want one of those titles, as we are watching the fight for 6th place. I want one of those titles that continue to the other end of the business card, like such a long title, head professional driver, experience facilities, and should give him about 2 or 3 more titles. So when he gives his business card, it kind of just continues, wraps around the other side when he gives it. I think that's the mark of a truly great man, when you have a business card like that. And these guys, Todd Gibson, Nicholas Lowndes, Gene Rollinson, in a great mix, and further behind them as well. That's very, very, very wide from Hank Cairns, and he's going to lose position to Matthew Griffin and Royce Rollinson, and 3 wide. I reckon he might have gone wide enough to actually get a slowdown out there. There's Sub on the inside of Royce Rollinson. If Royce wants to give any favours to his brother-in-arms, or father, or son, or cousin, or whatever it is, whatever relationship there is. Now's the opportunity. It was Sabo right in front of him. And Gene up in 6th, hoping that Sabo stays back there and Gene can claw back some points. Cam Canzo has lost part of his car somewhere.
Yeah, he has. That nose is looking very angry, or was looking very angry as we're watching Gibson Lowndes and Gene Rollinson as well. So Gene Rollinson, in terms of championship, Stephen Barker goes round in 8th place, and that's going to be a single car incident. No need, here you can see it. No need to go to our replay. Single car incident, lost a couple of places. And yeah, as I was about to say, Gene Rollinson, in terms of points, he has a chance to really get back some of the championship points he lost to Sabo on that heat number 1, because he's got the 4th place right within touch. Todd Gibson is holding on to that right now. Nicholas Lowndes between himself, between those two drivers. Gene Rollinson gonna get past Nicholas Lowndes on the main straight. Nicholas really lifting off, not fighting that off at all. That's gonna give Gene Rollinson the 5th place, while Antal Rafael Sabo, he's all the way down to 9th at the moment, fighting for the 8th place. So, you know, they might actually be tied in points heading into the last round, the way this is looking to shape out.
Sabo playing a blowtorch to the back of Matthew Griffin, who launches one over the inside curb there, managed to get away with it. There's a bit of cloud cover and darkness descends overhead. And Griffin manages to pull away through the chicane in the short shoot between the first half of the normal circuit and the last half of the normal full circuit. Meanwhile, Van Gisbergen has pumped out 2 fastest laps in a row, a 27.1 his last lap, a full 1.7 quicker, seconds quicker than the leader, Paul Blomqvist, and you can see top 2 in front of him. How aggressive is he in his quest to get by? How quickly does he do it?
I don't know. I mean, he has time. He has time here. You know, he's got nobody challenging him from behind. No, in 4th place, you got Todd Gibson 5 seconds away. So I think Shane Van Gisbergen is really having the time here to play with his statue, so to speak. Henry Thomas Churcher first, and gonna look to the inside. Yeah, I was about to say he has time to play. Well, he sent it to the inside right away, not waiting for better opportunities. However, not gonna get past there, and I don't think through the SS either.
Yeah, this might be a little bit too ambitious. Up to turn 1, he was quite a long way back, and wasn't much of an issue for Thomas Kircher to get that car turned in front of him. And through the S's, pulling a move there is highly frowned upon. Thomas Kircher doing a good job of sticking with Blomqvist as well. Should be said. Oh no, he gets into the back of Blomqvist, really sucks with him there, and that turns him around. I think Van Gisbergen might have tagged his rear end after Kircher checked up. Here's the replay of how Thomas Kircher found himself getting diced up between the 2 Mazminian cars.
And how Ryan Jones managed to curse Thomas Kircher. Because that was, honestly, just mentioning how well he is doing, and then that happens. You know, braking a little bit too late. Paul Blomqvist gonna feel a hit to his rear quarter panel, and that's gonna be Henrik Thomas Kircher going around and dropping to heat number 3. And that's gonna mean we have the medium battle for the race lead with Paul Blomqvist and SVG. Let's see how the head driver can do against the V8 driver.
There's an astronomical difference in pace between the 2 of them. Last cycle wasn't so much because of the Henry Thomas Kircher being there. But I feel as if Blomqvist is going to defend because, well, it is for the lead. And there's nothing to lose other than just the lead. They are 8 seconds clear of everyone else. I would have faith that these 2 could race side by side without coming into contact. But mistakes like that aren't going to help. He ran himself out very wide through 6. Look at the momentum Van Gisbergen carries out of turn 9. He's going to get to his inside. That was no defending Blomqvist could do there. And that's move done for Van Gisbergen up to the lead of the race.
Yeah, Paul was seeing SVG to the inside. He was just looking for the crossover, good exit, but didn't quite have the straight line speed to capitalize, or rather, didn't get good enough of a launch into that short chute. And as a result of that, SVG gonna take the race lead and wiggle the back end of his car around as well, hitting that Astro curve. So gonna let Paul be close, but you know, in terms of pace, it should be slam dunk for SVG right now, unless he makes a mistake. And for Paul Blomqvist, it might be a case of, you know, following around and taking notes, because now he has a great chance to. Oh, that's a mistake from SVG. That's a big one. He's going to lose a lot of time.
There was a mistake at the same time further back for Todd Gibson. So Van Gisbergen falls back to third almost as quickly as he got to first.
Yeah, I think he was too anxious on the throttle heading onto the main straight. And, you know, I don't want to, and we have the caution flag out as well. You know, SVG is just going to get a little bit too early on the throttle. The car's going to straighten itself out, and he's going to have to brake as well. So to avoid hitting that wall and losing a lot of time, trying to get back on track, and we have the caution flag out. So after a couple of rounds, we are actually seeing one of those safety car periods, Ryan, and that's going to make things quite interesting, to say the least.
Well, we're at a shorter track now, so it's not quite as suicidal to the competition. I don't know why Van Gisbergen grabbed the brake there, actually. He looked like he could have easily gathered it up without smashing the fence, but he popped it down either way, and he'll get to restart from P3.
Well, I think, Ryan, the reason why he smashed the brakes there is that those rear tires, once they step out, once you lose the traction, once you lose the grip like that, they are gonna overheat, even after a little bit of wheel spin. And he wasn't sure he had the grip in those rear tires to actually gather it around after that initial mistake. So maybe he was just playing it safe, letting the brakes handle it rather than trying to trust the grip on the rear end, as Mark Gibson is gonna make his way down to the pit lane. That's gonna be interesting.
Did he want some fresh tyres? Maybe he's got some damage on that car as well.
Yeah, so he was in third place. Now he's gonna be dropping all the way to the back of the field. Maybe he did have damage, maybe you're right, and maybe he just wants some fresh tires, I don't know. But either way, he's gonna be sitting there for quite a while. And I think he was hoping that a lot more people are gonna come down to the pit lane as well, but that wasn't the case. Even if Cam Cairns, for example, he's missing half of his car, almost. Can we get camera on car number 13, actually? Because I like that that the car has changed shape entirely. And if there was a BMW modified, then that would be it.
It's not looking bad, is it?
No,
I don't think it's going to be particularly quick. In fact, it's probably going to be quite slow. But start points at least. If you're into modifieds.
Yeah, our director said it. Looks like a Batmobile. No.
Oh, Ozzy, I don't know what to do with you.
Cam Cairns.
So right on the Porsche pace car here. And it is Paul Blomqvist that continues to lead us after he started from the pole. Henry Thomas Kirchhoff's had a pretty good race, sitting in second. Despite that spin, he started 11th as well. Mark Gibson crossed the line third, but he'll actually be a lot further back because of his pit stop, so he's 14th. Van Gisbergen third. Gene Rollinson fourth. Should be leading the championship still. Nicholas Lowndes in fifth.
So we got a question from chat asking what is the safety car for? And the reasoning is that on heat number 2, this series, if the track is short enough, they run a safety car period to basically get the pack bunched up close enough together, give a chance for those who end up starting from the back in heat number 2. And if they decide that, you know, it's too far spread out or enough people have lost time due to cautions, they basically throw what is called a competition caution, I think, in this one. So that, I think,
Another
is the
car
reasoning.
Pit lane. Royce Rollinson dives in. Maybe he's going to grab some fresh tyres as well and join Mark Gibson on the fresh rubber train. Mark is going to gain a spot out of this. Not quite sure fresh tyres are going to do much for you, though. Douglas Bickley looks like he's also in the lane. Based off the lap times they'd been doing before they pitted, they weren't, before the caution came out, they're not exactly dropping off substantially. In fact, in the first race, if we look at the most consistent driver, Van Gisbergen's times, he did a 26.9 on lap 2 and a 26.9 on lap 18.
Tell you what, you know who hasn't been to the pit lane until Rafael Sabo, despite the fact that his car is a little bit crumbled up, you know. It's not quite a modified. It's not quite that Batmobile that Cam Kearns is running, but it's still a little bit crumbled up. It's, you know, looking a little bit like a sandwich that's been pressured, held a little bit too hard. And as a result of that, the front end not quite good, the back end not quite good. Despite that, he hasn't been to the pit lane, he hasn't been to repair it, and he's in 11th place, so I don't know. I mean, he wouldn't have lost too much if he come to the pit lane, but that's going to be interesting to see what he decides to do once it does go green. Of course, championship-wise, would want to catch up to Gene Rollinson, who's in 5th, but I don't think he's gonna quite make it there, but then again, anything can happen, and usually will when you get a safety car restart with 8 minutes on the clock, Ryan.
It's going to be less than 8 minutes, because still the rest of this lap and another lap to go under the pace car. And Van Gisbergen has been given a Blomqvist a couple of nudges in the rear bumper on this lap. Looking at bumpers, Henry Thomas Kirchers is looking a bit second-hand as well after he got into the back of Blomqvist at the final corner under racing conditions earlier on.
Ooh, and once again, not under racing conditions, just giving a little bit of a nudge to Paul Blomqvist, saying, you know, come on, get your car going. As Michi looking behind them, wondering, you know, what those guys are up to. And update on Gene Rollinson, he's actually in 4th. Not 5th. He was 5th last time around, or before the caution came around, but now he's in 4th place, which interestingly enough is where he started and finished the first race as well.
You can only go as far as the pace car, I think, Paul Blomqvist is saying. Right now, he's going slower than him. Alright, so we're about to get lights out. So we should restart with 4.5, 5 minutes left in this race, which will equate to a 3 or 4 lap dash, which equates to carnage. Can't wait. It's going to be a good restart.
Yeah, I mean, I like how you were so cheerful saying that. It equals to carnage. And then you hit that soundboard. Yay! From a cartoon or something. But, you know, I will say this. I'm not sure it's gonna equal to carnage. I will say it's gonna equal some shenanigans and some tight racing. Especially as there are a couple of guys who will try and make their way from the back to the front. Mark Gibson, for example, he had those brand new tires starting 14th, was on the podium on first heat, you know, third in qualifying and third in heat number 1, and now going to be all the way down to 14, so he's going to make up some positions, hope to make up at least. Royce Rollinson going to be starting 11th, until Rafael Sabo going to be starting 8th, and Gene Rollinson going to be starting 4th as well. So a lot of mighty fast guys shuffled mighty way back, and they have mighty little time to pull it off. So Ryan, I think we're going to see something mighty.
I think you're right, but you can never know quite what to expect when you have a late race restart such as this. I think we're going to get something very spicy indeed. we'll get ready to go back green in a minute. Paul Blomqvist will control the field once that iRacing.com Porsche pace car dives onto pit road. And then he will get to choose when he wants to jump on the throttle and take us back racing. He could fall back a little bit here and give a gap to the pace car so he has more liberty at his disposal of when he wants to go. Or he can stay glued to the back of it and leave himself a very small window.
Yeah. Or he can turn the traction control off and give us a mighty drift down to the last corner. How about it, Paul? And look at that sweet cheek. He's just, giving a friendly, not even a tap, just, run to the side of Paul Blomqvist and giving him a hello. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be there in a short while. Let's see if that turns out the way it is. Who's gonna win this race, man?
No idea. I'm not putting that curse on anyone. Hey, they're 3 live to the lead of the race right now. Blomqvist has got one either side of him as he leaves a gap for that pace car. Ginsbergen needs to make sure he's not scored in seconds. He drops back behind Kircher. Pace car is on pit road in the hands of Paul Blomqvist. 4 minutes left to go. 3 laps left at Circuit of the Americas. Out of the last corner. Blomqvist jumps on the throttle and we are back racing. Thomas Kircher, I think, got caught napping. He is going to be under pressure from Van Gisbergen. Gets closer and as close as he needs to get as he jumps onto the brakes. And up the inside, Van Gisbergen takes away P2. Straight away reclaims the spot he lost right before the caution flew. The rest of the field gets through there cleanly.
Yeah, they did. Sabo gonna get one position off of that restart. Gonna cost Matthew Griffin. Gonna be hounding down for Gibson Nicholas Mounts now. So that's gonna be 2 cars between himself and Gene Rollinson in terms of the championship. And meanwhile, as you said, in the lead, Paul Blomqvist and Shane van Gisbergen are gonna have that little bit of a tussle once again. We saw how it ended up last time with SVG taking the lead and making that mistake. I don't think he's gonna make the same mistake again, but oh, that's Paul closing the door with some authority. Gonna force Shane a little bit more to the outside than he would have wanted.
Can he go the long way around at the triple apex? Right-hander. He's sticking it there. He's holding it there. Around the outside for Shane van Gisbergen of 3 corners. He gets it done. And Blomqvist goes straight on the offensive with the crossover. Inside line on the brakes. Thomas Kircher getting in there as well. He slides into the corner and hits. Kills his exit. Van Gisbergen's able to clear Blomqvist down the main straight and immediately moves across to defend the inside line.
And Gene Rollinson getting past Henry Thomas Kircher as well in your background, so that's going to be a fight for 3rd place as well. That's a great exit. Oh, and that's a mistake from Paul Blomqvist. But yeah, Gene Rollinson up to 3rd place. He's going to be right in the mix with these 2.
Now that Van Gisbergen's got clear of Blomqvist, can he pull away and be out of range for another attack back from Blomqvist? The lap and a bit remaining in this one. Oh no, Blomqvist has sputtered on the grass, middle of the racetrack. They're all going to get around him and use the curb to do so. And I think that seals the deal for Shane Van Gisbergen up front as Thomas Kircher fights back on Gene Rollinson. Gets the spot back and Nicholas Lowndes behind her to check up. That's going to allow Ansel Rafael Sabo up his inside. Now the championship contenders are bumper to bumper.
They are Sabo catching up all the way to Gene Rollinson, who had to take it to the inside a little bit too much to avoid the spinning car of Paul Blomqvist, and he got a slowdown penalty as a result of that. I think that's why Henry Thomas Kircher was able to get past him in such quick succession, and Rafael Sabo now gonna see that, Gene Rollinson, he's here, and they are now gonna have a battle as well. And Sabo, oh, how desperately he would want to get past Gene Rollinson to extend that lead he got in heat number 1, to get at least a couple of points more of caution between himself and Gene Rollinson heading into the last round. But I don't think Gene Rollinson, I don't think he will go quietly into the night. I think he's going to fight this, and he will. Sabo going to try to the outside. No chance, says Winnie Mac.
30 seconds left on the clock. It is the final lap here in Texas. Rollinson Shows his hand as he defended from Sabo there. Does not want to let him go. He knows the importance of staying ahead of him. As Sabo looks every which way through the S's, hunting for a different line to the one Rawlinson is taking to try and get the run on him. She hasn't got into turn 10. One of the best overtaking chances on the circuit. Behind them, a look from Todd Gibson on Nicholas Lounge. That move, it doesn't prevail. Here we go. There's a mistake from Sabo. Rawlinson, sorry. It's allowed Sabo to his inside. Does he go for the switchback through this tight left? He does. Gets it over the curb. Just can't quite get the power down like he wants to. And out front, Shane Van Gisbergen is coming into the penultimate corner with a 2-second lead. Didn't have it all his own way, but once again, out of the last corner, it's going to be Shane Van Gisbergen, first of them all. It's another race win. It's another good day out for Shane Van Gisbergen. He wins in the BMW Race Driver Series, both races in Circuit of the Americas. Gene Rawlinson is third ahead of Sabo. P2 for Henry Thomas Kircher as well.
Todd Gibson spun around in the last corner. What a heartbreak for him. He's going to lose a couple of positions to Jonathan Shapley and to Douglas Bickley as well. And further behind, everybody else trying to finish up. But man, that was a surprisingly clean restart, I would say, Ryan, and some very, very good racing. That battle for it between the championship contenders, that was quite something else.
Certainly was. A taste of things to come next time we go racing for the season finale. Let's take a look at our full race results then at the end of race 2. Keep in mind that our season finale next week as well is a 1-hour event. Just one race. Van Gisbergen, a 2.4 second win over Henry Thomas Kircher. Gene Rawlinson picks up third from Sabo in fourth. Nicholas Lowndes is fifth. Matthew Griffin sixth ahead of Mark Gibson in seventh. Royce Rawlinson comes home in eighth. Stephen Barker in ninth. And Jonathan Shapley picks up 10th.
Todd Gibson gonna be finishing off 11th and Cam Kearns ending up 12th. 10-1 lap behind the leaders, Douglas Bickley and Paul Blomqvist 2 laps behind Nathan Anderson, and Tony Lovelock classified as did not start for this event. So Ryan, that's the BMW Race Driver E-Series from New Zealand. Gonna be 1 hour earlier, and the championship finale last week, 1 hour at Bathurst. Now, Shane Van Gisbergen, he knows that track reasonably well. I think he has some experience from there. But championship contenders, Gene Rawlinson and Rafael Sabo, we are still waiting for the points before the last race, of course, to confirm. But just quick match, it's gonna be very, very, very tight. And 1 hour around Mount Panorama, I couldn't think personally of a better way to decide a championship than that. Maybe 10 hours, but
Bathurst 12 hours, Bathurst 1000. It's renowned for its long races. We're doing a 1 hour event to cap off our season. But I think for today, that brings us to the end of our show, and we look forward to that event next time out. Big thanks as always to Express Hydraulics and Griffin Excavations for their continued support of the series. And remember, if you want to get your company involved with the Global SimRacing Channel, you can. With over 1 million impressions each and every month, there's a great opportunity to get your brand seen by a broad audience. Big thanks to Joe and Ozzy with me here in the booth for tonight. And big thanks to the companies who provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts, listed here on your screen. And June Alon as well provides all of our wonderful music. If you want to get a hold of GSRC or find out more about us, check out our social media on GSR Channel, at Twitter, Facebook, Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Grant. Hit subscribe to us on YouTube and check out the screen for our upcoming races. But from all of us here in the booth, thanks for joining us, and until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.